Welcome back. We've been quiet for a little while, but finally the new hatch is in and it's something I'm excited to share. I thought I'd take you back to where we first started with this set of stairs that blocked off the entrance to the hallway. It really was a problem and it was never going to work for us, not safe for guests. So as we were coming north to Belgium, we removed those, which really opened up the space. But then the question was, how do we replace it? What sort of hatch do we put back in? And we did a little bit of research, we looked at models, we thought about things, and the architect suggested that the best thing was to switch the stairs to come along the end wall. Makes more room, it opens up the space, it's safer for guests because we can put a banister, a handrail along either side there. And so, step one, we needed to close in the hatch. We wanted to do that before we went into dry dock, before the boat got sandblasted and the roof primed. So that happened. Of course, being a boat, some structural issues were revealed with the way it had been done previously. It hadn't been properly reinforced, which meant that the hatch had been moving a lot, which is why it was leaking so much. But the guys here at the shipyard did a great job of patching all of that, and we were really happy with the outcome. You can't tell it was there. The next step was designing the actual underneath the stairs and getting all of that planned out so that we could send it off to the builders, and that meant some more demo. While that was underway, we started work with Simon, a local carpenter with experience on boats, to design a hatch. He did an excellent job of, we went through a few different iterations and models, but this is the design that we finally ended up with. And, it's going to be quite heavy. It is quite heavy. It's about 130 kilos. So designing the gas lifts and modelling those out as well so that it could carry the weight was all an important part of the process. Once we'd done that, we needed to select the wood. We found this that, I can't remember exactly what it is actually, but it matches the existing hatch very carefully. And then it was over to Simon's workshop. He's got an amazing kind of carpentry workshop set up there where we started cutting out materials, building a template to marking out exactly where on the surface it was going to go. We had good supervision, of course, while we were there. And a lot of the he has a lot of precision tools. I was impressed with just how, accurate we were able to actually, or he was able to actually make all of these cuts and build this, amazing sort of frame and system that all comes together really nicely. Once that was in place, while that was in place, then there was work happening on the boat as well. Back on board Delfine, we needed to put a hole in the roof. We had a template now. The guys here at the shipyard built a steel frame. This is 10 centimetres around that is going to insert into the hole that we cut out. And then that meant cutting into the steel and opening up that space. You can see here, any welding work, any metal cutting throws a lot of sparks. So fire protection and being on fire watch is an important part of that process. With that completed, we were able to lever out that new or that old steel plate. That went quite smoothly, and once that was out, we were able to then insert the new frame. They put some struts across to hold it in place, and then that was all welded down.
So it almost finished at the corner over there, not quite right, so we take a tiny bit more out.
There's always a challenge with welding, of course, because you heat the metal, it moves. And so when this went in, we were within about 3 millimeters of where it was supposed to be, which frankly I think is pretty good. May not be enough to send something into space, but certainly for a boat in the cold, outside in the weather, I think they did a great job. Next challenge, painting it. And actually there was two sorts of painting. We needed to varnish the frame, so that happened over at the workshop. Karina and I went there. It was actually a nice break from cold weather. She thought I was actually taking a photo of her here. And we managed to get several layers of varnish onto the frame. It's an oil-based varnish. It should weather really well. It'll darken up and match what's there. So that's the wood part of it. And of course, then there is the steel part. painting a steel boat is no joke. There's a little bit more footage of us here, varnishing the hatch, but while that's going on, let's talk a little bit about what's involved in the steel boat. You have to clean it back, get rid of any oil residue from manufacturing, and then you need a painting system. Our painting system uses all of these different paints. There's a video on that talks about them. It's fairly complicated, but necessary. The exciting thing for us is that ultimately this is the final colour that was going to go on Delfine. Here we are back in the workshop. This is the bottom of the hatch frame, goes the other way over, will sit over the top of the metal frame. That's had 2 coats, we're about to do another one. These are the inserts for the windows that will fit into the frame over here. And this is the piece that lifts up. That's 2 coats, we're about to sand it, and then there'll be a 3rd coat going on, and that'll be done. Glass will go in there, the little frames will go over the top. The brass hardware goes back on, hinges at this end, and then there'll be a gas lift or 2 gas lifts that help it. There'll be a big handle here, and you'll lift it up. And that will let you down the stairs into Delfine. All right, now with the hatch in place, the steel frame, the wooden bits completed, everything painted, installation day. It required a little bit of adjustment. As I said, the metal frame was about 3 millimeters out. We needed to route out a tiny bit more underneath to give some room, but honestly, the hatch went in super smoothly. The big glass went in, everything's, worked really well, and there it is in place after the first strong frost. Of course, there was a little bit more to go. Simon here is installing the ends to hold the gas lifts, which went in. That came in the next day. There was also some adjustment for the handles and things to make everything work super smoothly. But here it is in action. Here we are, the hatch is finally in. Nice. Some insulation along the metal on the inside there. Doesn't look quite as nice, but that'll end up getting finished with wood, stop the condensation, and Simon is just tidying off the last of the lock. So there we go, the hatch is finally done. There are a couple of very minor little pieces left. We're going to put a plate here to reinforce the wood. But otherwise, what do you think, Karina? I think so too. And here's the extra steel hardware in place to reinforce it. So there's the hatch, it's done. I think what's really interesting about this is just to reflect a tiny bit on just how many people were involved in this project. It took a couple of months in the planning, and then we started in early January with the actual build. So from once the hatch was closed to then opening up and building it really took about a month to complete, and there's been about 10 different people involved. Myself and Karina, Simon and 2 people that have assisted him with the building process, 2 different architects that have worked on the concepts early on, and then of course the people here at the shipyard that have done the actual welding and the metal construction. So I'm incredibly pleased with how quickly it's come together. But at the same time, it's just, it's crazy to think that just one piece, that's just a sense of how much is involved in actually making a change to a boat like Delfine. Thanks very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Look forward to producing some more soon.